Hey there, today we'll be discussing this question that's 2391 minimum amount of time to collect garbage that appeared in the Leetcode weekly contest 308. And the question statement is you are given a zero index array of strings garbage where garbage of I represents the assortment of garbage at the ith house. Garbage of I consists only of characters M, P, and G representing one unit of metal, paper, and glass garbage respectively. Picking up one unit of any type of garbage takes 1 minute. We are also given a zero index integer array travel where travel of I is the number of minutes needed to go from the house I to house I plus 1. There are three garbage trucks in the city, each responsible for picking up one type of garbage. Each garbage truck starts at house 0 and must visit each house in order. However, they do not need to visit every house. And mind you, only one garbage truck can be used at the any moment. And we need to return the minimum number of minutes needed to pick up all the garbage. That was quite the statement. Now let's understand the example one, which is given here. Fine. So I'll just copy this part right here into the OneNote part. Is right here, and we'll be discussing it from right here. So we have been given this array that is right here, which is present, which consists of a string, that is GP, GP, GG, and the travel array which has some numeric values. What do these represent? So this string that is present right here actually represents what type of garbage it is. Is it a glass, plastic, and a metal? Okay, so these are the type of garbage that can be present here. And what is the travel distance? That is 2, 4, and 3. So basically, if at the first instance you are here, if you travel from I to I plus 1, it will cost you 2. If you travel from here to I plus 1, it will cost you 4, and similarly if you travel from here to here it will cost you 3, right? So this is what the array is looking like. Now how do we go on about doing it? Understand that part as well. So I'll just delete this as well first, right here. Okay, so now how do we do it? At first I'll be telling you how to actually think of the intuition part. So at first you should actually see that there are certain values, that is GPM. G means glass and metal and plastic. Okay, there are only three values. So I can have a glass till some point only, I can have a metal till some point, I can have a plastic till some point. And what do we mean by that? See here, do you have any metal right here? You see that there are no metals, right? Okay, and you see that there is plastic as well. There is plastic, but it is up to some point only. That means at the first instance we do not get plastic, and the second instance or the house we get, and the third instance or the house we get. So we are limited up till some index for each type of waste. That means for glass we can find out what is the last house that has the garbage of glass. Okay, we can find out which house which is at the last is having the waste or garbage of metal. And for similarly for plastic. And how do we do that? We just simply loop over, or we just map all the elements. So basically what we can do is we can just create a map of each type of garbage and their last house in which this type of garbage is present. Okay, so once I try run this, you'll understand what I'm trying to mean from here. So the last house of garbage where we have the garbage glass present. So where is glass present and at which house, and which house is that, and what is its index? So the last house where this glass garbage is present is this one, that is 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm taking on the zero based indexing here. Okay, so the last house where the glass garbage is present is house 3. Where is metal present? So metal is nowhere present or nowhere to be found in any houses, so I'll just mark it with -1. Okay, and where is the last house where plastic is found? So it is on the second house, right? So when we are trying to find the cost for actually picking out all the plastic garbage, we will not be needing to go to the third house. Why so? Because we can see that at the last house no plastic waste is present. Why should I go to the last house, right? That is the distance. So now, how do we actually go on about calculating it? So it is a pretty brute force method that you need to apply right here. You apply for every type of garbage, that is, once you go for glass, once you go for metal, another time you go for plastic. So you'll go for all the three each of the time, and you'll try to find out what is the cost. Now let's begin with glass. First of all, you'll see, is the glass ever present in any of the houses? Yes, it is present till the third house. So from where to where we will go? We'll go from 0 to 3, right? Now we'll be calculating the cost at each point. Let's see. How do we do that? At the first instance, we'll go at the house 0. We see that actually taking out garbage from the house 0, we do not require any travel cost. Okay, since you are at that house only at the first instance, you are only requiring the picking cost. So if you pick 1 unit of garbage, that if you pick 1 g from here, you will inquire a cost of 1 unit. Okay, so you get a cost of 1 unit from that. So from the first house, you are getting how much cost? One house, 1 unit. Okay, now you move on to the next index. No g is present there. Here g is present there, right? So the number of units of glass that are present here is only one, right? And mind you, there is a travel cost also that you need to take care of, right? So what is the travel cost if you go from here to here and also from here to here? What is the travel cost? So the travel cost incurred from going from 0 till position 3 is what? It is nothing but 2 plus 4, right? So the travel cost that you took to go to that point is nothing but 6. And what are the number of units that you have here? That is 1. So that is 1. So the travel cost was taken as 6. And the number of units of glass that you are picking from here is 1. So you add 1. Now you move from here to here. And what is the cost that was taken as travel? It was 3. So you add 3 here. And the number of units of glass that you have right here is how many? You have 2. So what is the total cost that you incurred just by picking this? That is 6 to 8 and to 10 and 13. So the total cost that was taken was 13 from here. Fine. Which is right here, given here. It must be somewhere here. Okay. So it takes a total of 13. Okay. If we are picking glass, that is 30 minutes, which is exactly what we wanted. Now, for glass, we have done, right? For glass, we have done. We are done for the glass part. So we'll just write the cost of glass somewhere. We are just maintaining it in some variable, okay, which will eventually be added. Okay, so now we go on to the m part. We see it is -1, that is, it is nowhere to be found. No metal waste is found in any houses. We move on to the p, that is the paper type of garbage. So we see we need to go from 0 till which index? Only till 2 index. Why so? Because we have been storing the last index where it was found, right? Or the last house where it was found. So we'll only go from 0 to 2. So how do we write all the costs? At the first house, we do not find any paper bag. Okay, so we do not care about this. So we just move on to the next index. At the next index, we have occurred a travel cost, which is what? Which is nothing but 2. So the travel cost was 2. Now what is the cost of picking this 1 unit of paper? It is 1. So just add 1. Now we move on to the next index because we are done with this. Now here we find 1 unit of paper. So add 1. And what is the travel cost of moving from here to here? That is from the first index to the second index. That is nothing but 4. So add 4 to this. Now what is the total cost that you are accumulated? So it is nothing but 8, right? So this is 8. Now the total cost for paper was 8. So you have got a total cost of, that is 21, I guess. That is it. So this is what you need to return. Okay, so I hope this whole algorithm walkthrough was clear to you on how to do it. Now let's get on to the implementation part on how we are going to do it. So coming on to the implementation part, it might look a bigger one, a lengthier one, but it is easier on the implementation side. It is not that hard. Okay, so at first what we did was I created a garbage array that says that okay, these are the possible types of garbages that I can get from the houses, okay, of character type. After that, what am I saying? I created a map, as I said, and all the maps are having what? Map is having nothing but mpng, all the types of garbages, okay, and all are initialized to -1, like I said right here, okay. It is all initialized at the beginning as -1 only. After that, if we find the last index, then we are initializing it or reinitializing it, the indexes in the map. Okay. So now what is this part doing? This is finding the last index of the houses for garbage of type I. That is what this is doing. This is just finding out what is the last index for this type of garbage, or the what is the last index for this type of garbage. So I am going on in my, so I'll be iterating on the garbage array that is provided, or the garbage string that is provided, and I will try to find which is the last index where I found it. And if I find type M garbage, that is if I find a metal, I will try to update the last index of that house. If I find the paper waste, I will try to insert that into my map. If I found the glass type of waste, I'll try to insert that into my map. Okay, so this part is nothing but the last index of the houses where the garbage of type I was found. And what is the type I? It is nothing but mpng, okay, metal, plastic, and sorry, paper and glass. That is what we are doing. Now coming on to the actual calculation part. This is the actual calculation part. So here we are finding the actual answer. Okay, have maintained an answer variable which will be returning at the end, that is the total cost that was incurred to us. Now coming on to this part. Now what is this column array that I am iterating on? It is nothing but mpng, the type of waste or garbage that you can get. You can get a metal, paper, or a glass, right? So I'm iterating on the map right now. So basically, what I'll be doing is iterating like this: first on the glass, second on the map, third on the paper. Fine. Like you've understood while I was explaining it. So we are just doing this part. And at any instance, if we find there are no houses with this type of waste, I will not iterate on that, right? That is what I had explained it. So that is what I've done here. If I find this type of waste is not present, I will not iterate it. Why shall I go there, right? So this is the part where I say that if no house, no houses have this type of waste, do not go. Okay, but if it does have some waste on that type, then we are going in. So if the value is not equals to -1, that means there are some houses which have this type of waste. So we'll go on to that. Now coming on to this part, I'll go till that index only. That is why this is mp of it and not the whole array. Fine. Now how do we calculate the cost? So coming on to that part, on how do we calculate the cost. Now at every time you see that we are obviously iterating on the garbage array, and there is a string present there, right? There is a string present there, and the string can have multiple values like gp, or it can have something more. So we need to iterate on the whole string. So that is why we are iterating on the whole string as well. Fine, this is the part where we are iterating on the whole string. And what is this cost? So this cost is actually telling me how much cost was incurred if I wanted to go at that position. Now, what does this mean? Let's just say that you are at some position I, which is this. Will any cost be incurred? Obviously not. If you go at this position, you are obviously coming from the position 0, right? If you want to go at position 1, you are coming out from position 0 only. So what will be the cost that will be incurred? It will be nothing but the travel of 0. That means if you are index I, or index I is, let's just say 1, the cost that will be incurred will be travel of I minus 1. So if you are at position I, okay, the cost will be nothing but travel of I minus 1. that is the cost that you will be incurring, that is I minus 1. Okay, why? So see, if you are at position 1, the cost that is incurred is I minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0, that is 2, which is actually the cost. If you are at position 2, what is the cost? It is nothing but 2 minus 1, that is 1. So index 1 is what? 4, which is actually the cost. So that is how we calculate the cost part. So the cost is calculated here, and now we are just counting the values which are equals to this type of waste. That means, if let's just say I am currently finding the glass type of waste, how many glass type of waste is there in this type of string? So basically, let's just say if we are onto some string and we are typing a particular, and we are finding a particular type of waste, let's just say we are on G, right? We need to find all the glass type of waste in this array. So we will go at each point and we'll see how many G's do you have, how many G's do you have, how many G's do you have, right? And that will be stored in the counter variable. Fine. That will be stored in the counter variable. So this is what the counter variable is doing right here. It is just counting how many instances of that waste is present. After I've counted how many instances are there, what do? We just see that if there is some type of waste, what do? We add that, and we also add the cost. And what do I mean by that? Let's just say that if I'm at this position right here, I will be needing some travel cost, plus I will be needing the number of units that I've picked. So if I'm finding for G or glass, I was at initially 0th index, then I moved to 1, then I moved to 2. So all the moving required me some travel cost. So all the travel cost will be added, plus the number of units of this glass that I picked, that will be added. So 1, 2. So I picked two glasses. So I'll be adding 2 here. Okay, so the number of units plus the count of those units will also be added. So the count is saying how many units of that garbage have I picked. So the travel cost plus the count cost. But it might happen, right, that you're trying to find a cost, but you'd never find it, but you only incur travel cost, right? That can also happen. That means you were trying to find some type of waste, but you only incurred all the travel cost. So that is why this is put here. That means you did not find any type of waste which is equals to this, only the travel cost was added. But since I wrote this minus 1 condition, this is actually not needed. Okay, but yet I wrote this, since all the travel cost is also added right here. Okay, so, and at the end of the day we just return the answer. Fine. So this is the whole part on how to do this question, and this is the code as well. I'll be linking the code in the description, and if you did understand the explanation and the code part as well, please do like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching.